Sheila, have you done the biblical duty of going out into the countryside and bringing them in? Okay, I think we're ready for the second half. Before we get started with the second half immediately, I'd like to note that in the audience today we have Kevin Purcell. Kevin was a recitation judge at last year's statewide Poetry Out Loud contest. This coming Saturday afternoon, Kevin Purcell will present a poetry performance workshop at the Vachel Lindsay home here in Springfield. And by the way, that's at 602 South 5th Street, and it's just sort of catty corner, a block over from us here. It's a free workshop, and students, teachers, and the general public are all invited. Kevin, would you just stand up so people say hello? Kevin can not only cite poetry such you want to stop your life for a while and listen, but he's also a great actor on the stage. And he's sort of like Gene Hackman or Tommy Lee Jones and others. There's not any role that he can't play that you don't say, yeah, that's the guy. If you'd like more information, please see Kevin here this afternoon or talk with Sheila Walk, who's also around here with the area's Arts Council, because the Area Arts Council is co-sponsoring this gathering. And I should note that the Vachel Lindsay home, where Vachel Lindsay was born, was also, prior to that, occupied by Abraham Lincoln's sister-in-law. I mean, you talk about a town full of incest. Everybody is just... Who doesn't have the Lincoln bloodline here? Anyway. So now we'll get on with the recitation for the round two. Round two begins. Please welcome Cameron Harmon from Morrisonville High School. Cameron.
Romance by Claude McKay. To clasp you now and feel your head close pressed, scented and warm against my beating breast, to whisper soft and quivering your name, and drink the passion burning in your frame, to lie at full length taut with cheek to cheek, teasing your mouth with kisses till you speak. Love words, mad words, dream words, sweet, senseless words, melodious like notes of mating birds. To hear you ask if I shall love always, and myself answer till the end of days. To feel the easeful sigh of happiness, when on your trembling lips I murmur, yes. It is so sweet, we know it is not true. What matters it? The night must shed her dew. We know it is not true, but it is sweet. The poem with this music is complete.
Next, from Sacred Heart Griffin High School, Darcy OBrien. Darcy?
Time does not bring relief. You all have lied, by Edna St. Vincent Millay. Time does not bring relief. You all have lied who told me time would ease me of my pain. I miss him in the weeping of the rain. I want him the shrinking of the tide. The old snows melt from every mountainside, and last year's leaves are smoke in every lane, but last year's bitter loving must remain heaped on my heart, and my old thoughts abide. There are 100 places where I fear to go, so with his memory they brim. And entering with relief some quiet place where never fell his foot or shone his face, I say, there is no memory of him here. And so stand stricken, so remembering him.
Please welcome to the stage Austin Vinson from Springfield High School. Austin?
April Midnight by Arthur Symonds. Side by side through the night at midnight, roaming together through the tumultuous night of London in the miraculous April weather, roaming together under the gaslight, day's work over. How the spring calls to us here in the city, calls to the heart from the heart of a lover. Cool to the wind blows fresh in our faces, cleansing, entrancing. After the heat and the fumes and the footlights where you dance and I watch your dancing. Good it is to be here together. Good to be roaming, even in London, even at midnight. Lover-like in a lover's gloaming. You the dancer and I the dreamer, children together wandering lost in the night of London, in the miraculous April weather.
Please welcome next Simone Sparks of St. Theresa High School. Simone.
The Obligation to Be Happy by Linda Peston. It is more onerous than the rights of beauty or housework, harder than love. But you expect it of me casually, the way you expect the sun to come up, not in spite of rain or clouds, but because of them. And so I smile, as if my own fidelity to sadness were a hidden vice, that downward tug on my mouth. My old suspicion that health and love are brief irrelevancies, no more than laughter in the warm dark, strangled at dawn. Happiness. I try to hoist it on my narrow shoulders again. A knapsack heavy with gold coins. I stumble around the house, bump into things. Only Midas himself would understand.
Please welcome next from Springfield High School, Gina Gray. Gina?
The Blues Don't Change by Al Young. Now, I'll tell you about the blues. All Negroes like blues. Why? Because they was born with the blues. And now everybody have the blues. Sometimes they don't know what it is. Lead belly. And I was born with you. Wasn't I, blues? Wombed with you, wounded and reared, and forwarded from address to address, stamped, stomped, and returned to cinder by nobody else but you. Blue Rider, riding me off every chance you got. You mean old grudgeful-hearted table-turning demon. You sexy soul-sucking gem. Blue diamond in the rough. You are forever. You can't be outfoxed, don't care how they cut and smuggle and shine you on. You're like a shadow, too dumb and stubborn and necessary to let them turn you into what you ain't, with color or theory or powder or paint. That's how you can stay in style without sticking and not getting stuck. You know how to sting where I can't scratch, and you move from frying pan to skillet, the same way you move people to go to, wiggling their bodies, juggling their limbs, loosening that goose, upping their voices, opening their pores, rolling their hips and lips. They can shake their booties, but they can't shake you.
Please welcome Emma Todd from Lanphier High School. Emma.
Blackberrying by Sylvia Plath. Nobody in the lane, and nothing but blackberries. Blackberries on either side, though on the right mainly. A blackberry alley going down in hooks. And the sea, somewhere at the end of it, heaving. Blackberries big as the ball of my thumb and dumb as eyes. Ebon in the hedges, fat with blue-red juices. These they squander on my fingers. I had not asked for such a blood sisterhood. They must love me. They accommodate themselves to my milk bottle, flattening their sides. Overhead go the choughs in black cacophonous flocks, bits of burnt paper wheeling in a blown sky. Theirs is the only voice, protesting. I do not think the sea will appear at all. The high green meadows are glowing as if lit from within. I come to one bush of berries so ripe, it is a bush of flies, hanging their blue-green bellies and their wing panes in a Chinese screen. The honey feast of the berries has stunned them. They believe in heaven. One more hook, and the berries and bushes end. The only thing to come now is the sea. From between two hills, a sudden wind funnels at me, slapping its phantom laundry in my face. These hills are too green and sweet to have tasted salt. I follow the sheep path between them. The last hook brings me to the hill's northern face, and the face is orange rock that looks out on nothing but a great space of white and pewter lights, and a din like silversmiths beating and beating at an intractable metal.
Our next recitation is by Savannah Hess of Eisenhower High School. Savannah?
Anthem for Doomed Youth by Wilfred Owen. What passing bells for these who die as cattle? Only the monstrous anger of the guns, only the stuttering rifle's rapid rattle can patter out their hasty orisons. No mockeries now for them, no prayers, nor bells, nor any voice of mourning, save the choirs, the shrill, demented choirs from wailing shells, and the bugles calling them from sad shires. What candles may be held to speed them all? Not in the hands of boys, but in their eyes shall shine the holy glimmers of goodbyes. The pallor of girls' brows shall be their pall, their flowers, the tenderness of patient minds, and each slow dusk, a drawing down of blinds.
And now, Kyle Depaytas of Porta High School. Kyle?
Flood, Years of Solitude, Dionisio D. Martinez. To the one who sets a second place at the table anyway. To the one at the back of the empty bus. To the ones who name each piece of stained glass projected on a white wall. To anyone convinced that a monologue is a conversation with the past. To the one who loses with the deck he has marked. To those who are destined to inherit the meek. To us.
Comes now Lydia Renee Ulsaker of Lutheran High School. Lydia Renee.
Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas. Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Though wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. Good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learn, too late, they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death who see with blinding sight. Blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my Father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Please welcome Clayton Cena from Morrisonville High School. Clayton.
Thoughts in a Zoo by County Colon. They in their cruel traps, and we in ours, survey each other's rage to pass the hours, commiserating each the other's woe, to mitigate his own pain's fiery glow. Man could but little proffer in exchange, save that his cages have a larger range. That lion with his lordly, untamed heart has in some man his human counterpart. Some lofty soul in dreams and visions wrapped, but in the stifling flesh securely trapped. Gaunt eagle whose raw pinions stain the bars that prison you, so men cry for the stars. Some delve down like the mole, far underground. Their nature is to burrow, not to bound. Some, like the snake, with changeless, slothful eye, stir not, but sleep and smolder where they lie. Who is most wretched, these caged ones or we, caught in a vastness beyond our sight to see?
Our next recitation comes from Nathaleek Sanders of Southeast High School. Nathaleek?
Enough by Susan Buffam. I am wearing dark glasses inside the house to match my dark mood. Hold on. I am wearing dark glasses inside the house to match my dark mood. I have left all the sugar out of the pie. My rage is a kind of domestic rage. I learned it from my mother, who learned it from her mother before her, and so on. Surely the Greeks had a word for this. Now surely the Germans do. The more words a person knows to describe her private sufferings, the more distantly she can perceive them. I repeat the names of all the cities I've known and watch an ant drag its crooked shadow home. What does it mean to love the life that we've been given? To act well the part that's been cast for us? Wind, light, fire, time. A train whistles through the far hills. One day, I plan to be riding it.
Annie Kafalos of St. Theresa High School is next. Annie.
The Poet at 17 by Larry Levis. My youth? I hear it mostly in the long, volleying echoes of billiards, in the pool halls where I spent it all, extravagantly, believing my delicate touch on a cue would last for years. Outside, the vineyards vanished under rain, and the trees held still, or seemed to hold their breath when the men I worked with, pruning orchards, sang their lost songs. Amapola, La Paloma, Jalisco no te rejes. The corny tunes their sons would just as soon forget at recess, where they lounged apart in small groups of their own. Still, even when they laughed in Spanish. I hated high school then, and on weekends drove a tractor through the widowed fields. It was so boring, I memorized poems above the engine's monotone. Sometimes, whole days slipped past without my noticing, and birds of all kinds flew in front of me then. I learned to tell them apart by their empty squabbling, the slightest change in plumage, or the inflection of a call. And why not admit it? I was happy then. I believed in no one. I had the kind of solitude the world usually allows only to kings and criminals, who are extinct, who disdain this world, and who rot corrupt and shallow as fields I disked. I turned up that same gray earth for years. Still, the land made a glum raisin each autumn and made that little hell of days. The vines must have seemed like cages to the Mexicans, who were paid 7 cents a tray for the grapes they picked. Inside the vines it was hot, and spiders strummed their emptiness. Black widow, daddy long legs. The vine canes whipped our faces. None of us cared. And the girls I tried to talk to after class sailed by. Then each night laid enthroned in my bed with nothing on but the jewels of their embarrassment. Eyes, lips, dreams. No one, the sky and the road. A life like that seemed to go on forever. Reading poems in school, then driving a stuttering tractor warm afternoons. Then billiards on blue October nights. The thick stars. But mostly now I remember the trees, wearing their mysterious yellow sullenness, like party dresses, and parties I didn't attend. And then the first ice hung like spider lattices, or the embroideries of Great Aunt No One. And then the first dark entering the trees. And inside, the adults with their cocktails before dinner. The way they always seemed afraid of something and sat so rigidly, although the land was theirs.
Joining us on the stage next is Taylor Rossi of Porta High School. Taylor.
Thoughts in a Zoo by County Colon. They in their cruel traps, and we in ours, survey each other's rage and pass the hours commiserating each the other's woe to mitigate his own pain's fiery glow. Man could but little proffer in exchange, save that his cages have a larger range. That lion with his lordly, untamed heart has in some man his human counterpart, some lofty soul in dreams and visions wrapped, but in the stifling flesh securely trapped. Gaunt eagle, whose raw pinions strain the bars that prison you, so men, cry for the stars. Some delve like the mole far underground. Their nature is to burrow, not to bound. Some, like the snake, with changeless, slothful eye, stir not, but sleep and smolder where they lie. Who is most wretched, these caged ones, or we, caught in a vastness beyond our sight to see?
Up next, Joseph Macharnik, Sacred Heart Griffin High School. Joseph.
The City of Sleep by Rudyard Kipling. Over the edge of the purple down, where the single lamplight gleams, know ye the road to the merciful town that is hard by the sea of dreams, where the poor may lay their wrongs away and the sick may forget to weep. But we, pity us, oh pity us. We wakeful, ah, pity us. We must go back with policeman day, back from the city of sleep. Weary they turn from the scroll and crown, fetter and prayer and plow. They that go up to the merciful town, for her gates are closing now. It is their right in the baths of night, body and soul, steep. But we, pity us, ah, pity us. We wakeful, oh, pity us. We must go back with policeman day, back from the city of sleep. Over the edge of the purple down, ere the tender dreams begin, look, we may look at the merciful town, but we may not enter in. Outcasts all from her guarded wall, back to our watch we creep. We, pity us, ah, pity us. We wakeful, ah, pity us. We that go back with policeman day, back from the city of sleep.
Music and weather at 2 o'clock today. Chicago went under a winter storm watch. Riley Sant from Pawnee High School is our next presenter. Riley.
Love Song by Dorothy Parker. My own dear love, he is strong and bold, and he cares not what comes after. His words ring sweet as a chime of gold, and his eyes are lit with laughter. He is jubilant as a flag unfurled. Oh, a girl, she'd not forget him. My own dear love, he is all my world, and I wish I'd never met him. My love, he's mad, and my love, he's fleet, and a wild young wood thing bore him. The ways are fair to his roaming feet, and the skies are sunlit for him. As sharply sweet to my heart he seems, as the fragrance of acacia. My own dear love, he is all my dreams, and I wish he were in Asia. My love runs by like a day in June, and he makes no friends of sorrows. He'll tread his galloping rigadoon in the pathway of the morrows. He'll live his days where the sunbeam starts, nor could storm or wind uproot him. My own dear love, he is all my heart, and I wish somebody'd shoot him.
Please welcome next Michael Goikeg of Pawnee High School. Michael?
The Kiss by Robert Graves. Are you shaken? Are you stirred by the whisper of love, spellbound to a word? Does time cease to move till her calm, gray eyes expand toward the sky, and clouds of her hair, like storms, go by? Then the lips that you have kissed turn to frost and fire. Then a white steaming mist obscures desire. So back to their births fade water, air, earth. And then the first power moves over void and dearth. Is that love? No. But death. A passion, a shout, a deepened breath, a breath roaring out. And once it has flown, you must lie alone, without hope, without life. Poor flesh, sad bone.
Here now the presentation of Sarah Lane, Lanphier High School. Sarah?
Thoughtless Cruelty by Charles Lamb. There, Robert, you have killed that fly. And should you 1,000 ages try the life you've taken to supply, you could not do it. You surely must have been devoid of thought and sense to have destroyed a thing which no way you annoyed, you'll one day rue it. 'Twas but a fly, perhaps you'll say, that's born in April, dies in May, that does but just learn to display his wings 1 minute, and in the next is vanished quite. A bird devours it in his flight. Or come a cold blast in the night, there's no breath in it. The bird but seeks his proper food, and Providence, whose power endued life, that fly life, if it thinks so, it may justly take it. But you have no excuses for it. A life by nature made so short, less reason is that you for sport should shorter make it. A fly, a little thing you rate, but Robert, do not estimate a creature's pain by small or great. The greatest beings can have but fibers, nerves, and flesh, and these the smallest ones possess, although their frame and structure less escape our seeing.
Let's give it up for Catherine Ann Beeler of Lutheran High School. Catherine?
Anyone Lived in a Pretty How Town by E. Cummings. Anyone lived in a pretty how town, with up so floating many bells down. Spring, summer, autumn, winter, he sang his didn't, he danced his did. Women and men, both little and small, cared for anyone not at all. They sowed their isn't, they reaped their same. Sun, moon, stars, rain. Children guessed, but only a few, and down they forgot as up they grew. Autumn, winter, spring, summer, that no one loved him more by more. Wind by now and tree by leaf, she laughed his joy, she cried his grief. Purred by snow and stir by still, anyone's any was all to her. Someone's married their everyone's, laughed their cryings and did their dance. Sleep, wake, hope, and then they said their nevers, they slept their dream. Stars, rain, sun, moon, and only the snow can begin to explain how children are apt to forget to remember, with up so floating many bells down. One day, anyone died, I guess, and no one stooped to kiss his face. The busy folk buried them side by side, little by little, and was by was. All by all, and deep by deep, and more by more they dreamed their sleep. No one and anyone, earth by April, wish by spirit, and if by yes. Women and men, both dong and ding, summer, autumn, winter, spring, reaped their sowing and went their came. Sun, moon, stars, rain.
We welcome next to the stage from Southeast High School, Sharda Crawford. Sharda.
Conversation by I. We smile at each other, and I lean back against the wicker couch. How does it feel to be dead, I say? You touch my knees with your blue fingers, and when you open your mouth, a ball of yellow light falls to the floor and burns a hole through it. Don't tell me, I say. I don't want to hear. Did you ever, you start, wear a certain kind of silk dress, and just by accident, so inconsequential you barely notice it, your fingers graze that dress, and you hear the sound of a knife cutting paper. You see it too, and you realize how that image is simply the extension of another image, that your own life is a chain of words that one day will snap. Words, you say. Young girls in a circle, holding hands, and beginning to rise heavenward in their confirmation dresses, like white helium balloons. The wreaths of flowers on their heads spinning. And above all that, that's where I'm floating. And that's what it's like, only 10 times clear, 10 times more horrible. Could anyone alive survive it?
Share the final recitation of round 2 from Caitlin Spence of Eisenhower High School. Caitlin.
Writing by Howard Nemerov. The curse of crawl, the squared off characters, These by themselves delight, even without a meaning, in a foreign language, in Chinese, for instance. Or when skaters curve all day across the lakes, scoring their white records in ice. Being intelligible, these winding ways with their audacities and delicate hesitations, they become miraculous so intimately. Out there at the pen's point or brush's tip, do world and spirit wed. The small bones of the wrist balance against great skeletons of stars exactly. The blind bat surveys his way by echo alone. Still, the point of style is character. The universe induces a different tremor in every hand. From that of the Czech forgers to Emperor Hugh Sung, who called his own calligraphy the slender gold. Miraculous! It is as though the world were a great writing. Having said so much, let us allow there's more to the world than writing. Continental faults are not bare, convoluted fissures of the brain. Not only must the skaters soon go home, also the hard inscriptions of their skates is scored across the open water, which long remembers nothing, neither wind nor wake.
Before, right now, the judges from the accounting firm of Blagojevich, Madoff, and Ryan are going through pulling everything together here so we can get that. Let me tell you quickly a little bit about our judging staff. Lori Beckham received a Bachelor of Arts degree in English from the University of Illinois at Springfield in December. Her coursework included poetry, creative writing, speech, and contemporary literature. She was also the assistant editor for UIS's award-winning campus newspaper, The Journal, and wrote about literary events and performing arts in Springfield. Taya Chesley, none other, Taya Chesley, who holds a master's degree from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign Graduate School of Library and Information Sciences, was the librarian for the Illinois Department of Public Health from July 2000 to September 2008. From 1986 to 2000, she was coordinator of library services for the Illinois Department of Corrections, taking poetry where it may not otherwise go. With libraries in 36 adult and youth facilities statewide. She also earned a master's degree from the Program for Writers at the University of Illinois at Chicago. Ms. Chesley now lives in Springfield with 2 cats, a dog, listens to jazz and blues, writes poetry and fiction. Bob Jessup, who's chief judge here today, chief accountant for the scoring. This is Bob's 4th year serving as a scorekeeper for both the regional and the state contests. He spent his career with Central Management Services for the state of Illinois, serving as a mainframe programmer there for over 30 years. Mr. Jessup and his wife Carol live in Springfield. And our judges, John McCarthy is the assistant editor for Quiddity International Literary Journal and Public Radio Program. His poems, essays, and stories have been published, translated, and anthologized widely, including in the Conium Review, the Chappie Review, the Buddhist Poetry Review, and the United Kingdom's Pop Shot magazine. He is also the 2010-2011 champion of the Association of Writers and Writing Programs Annual Poetry Slam. He is a graduate of the Writing and Publishing Program at Benedictine University at Springfield, where he received Benedictine's highest honor, the Procopian Award, Scholar Athlete of the Year, and the Benedictine Undergraduate Research Award for an exemplary thesis. John is also the assistant coach of Benedictine's track and cross-country team. I wonder if do you use Gatorade, or is that good for the long run? Dale Mason. Mr. Mason is a Central Illinois native and a graduate of Illinois State University. He has a bachelor's degree in math education with endorsements in computer science, speech, and theater, excuse me. Well, theater's used a lot in therapy and very effectively. I should use some. He had 15 years of experience teaching math in the Springfield area and many more years of experience performing on stage in plays and musicals, as well as working behind scenes for many productions. Mr. Mason currently directs the plays at Pleasant Plains High School and is the drama club sponsor. He also is a judge for the annual Rite of Passage project presented by each senior at his school. Osni Vagesa received her Master of Fine Arts in Acting from Northern Illinois University. For the past 15 years, she has worked for Brilliance Audio, abridging both fiction and nonfiction manuscripts for recording as audiobooks, as well as occasionally working as a narrator for recordings. She is co-owner of Yoga in Springfield, which, by the way, your reputation precedes you. It's widely accepted as fabulous. And will start teaching theater classes at Illinois College in Jacksonville in the fall. As a performer of poetry, Osni has co-produced with Kevin Purcell in Prairie Voices, which features the work of the prairie poets Edgar Lee Masters, Carl Sandburg, and Springfield's own Vachel Lindsay. Recently, Osni debuted her one-woman show, Sonnets from an Ungrafted Tree, by Edna St. Vincent Millay at the Vachel Lindsay home. And before we move on to the final announcing here of these, I just want to thank the people who have provided some gifts today. Each student received a locally made chocolate bar from Pisa's Candy Shop. Pisa's always pleases. The Poetry Foundation also generously provided wristband pins, and they took back the Lance Armstrong wristbands and gave us other The Poetry Foundation generously provided wristbands, pins, and the February issue of Poetry Magazine for each participant. And as Stephen Young mentioned, Poetry Magazine just celebrated 100 years of publication in 2012. Also, thanks to Benedictine University because it contributed a copy of Quiddity International Literary Journal and Public Radio program for the winner and runner-up. And the University of Illinois at Springfield donated a copy of its literary journal, The Alchemist Review, to the first and second place finishers. And congratulations to everybody who participated. And let's have a real round of applause for everybody here. We will begin with, Penny, would you like to come read these? Penny is the executive director. Please, why don't you? Okay. Penny is the executive director of the Springfield Area Arts Council. As we said, for the 8th year, they have sponsored this locally, and they're also doing the state. The third place winner is Simone Sparks of St. Theresa High School. The second place winner, goes to the state along with the first place winner, right? The second place winner in the regional competition today is Annie Kafalis of St. Theresa High School. I took my meds today, so any sadistic tendencies I might have are all gone. So I'm going to read this right away. The first place winner and going to state from today's regional contest is from Southeast High School, Sharda Crawford. Pictures are welcome. Anybody wants to take pictures while we have the three winners right up here? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's see. All right, the two top, first and second, are going on to the state, which is March 8th here at the Hoagland Center. So it's going to be promising to everybody who's been with us today, especially to our folks who work so hard, to their teachers, the parents, and coaches. Thank you so very much. To our judging staff, thank you so much. To Penny and to Sheila, thanks so much. Virgil on the horns, Thanks very much. Wonderful job. And to the folks here at the Hoagland Center and Stephen Young from Poetry Out Loud, the Poetry Foundation, thank you for being with us today. We are very much honored. Thanks to all of you for being with us today. Have a great evening. Thank you.